what we need to get onto now is player ratings. I know Kieran's rubbing his hands, just thinking that he cannot wait to dig into some of the players. But if we're starting off with England, Ryan, what give us the players and we'll give the ratings.
All right, so we'll start with the front row. You've got Ellis Genge, Jamie Blamire, Will Stewart. And for me, the best rating there is going to be Ellis Genge with a 4 out of 10.
It's not even a
Yeah.
forward two. If Aaron is
No,
a two.
as a captain, losing to the Wales at the Principality Stadium is just dreadful. I'd give Ellis Genge 3/4.5, no 4, and I
Yeah.
give Jimmy Brumire. Nah, Jimmy Brumire, I didn't know he was playing, and Will Stewart, he just hasn't been the same since his elbow injury. So, in my opinion, he's a 3.
I think it was Will Stewart who threw some dreadful pass in the middle of that game. It was honestly embarrassing to watch. But I think Ellis Genge, he was involved. He was carrying as he always is, but he just wasn't getting the meters that he normally does. So for me, it's a 4-3, but at a push 4 out of 10.
I'm saying if we know what Ellis Genge usually does and provides to a game, right? We know what he usually does. I'm saying based off what he usually does, that's a two. That's a two for Ellis Genge. And I'm a fan of Ellis Genge, but he did not play his best game. And I think it's to do with him being captain, that added pressure. I feel like that responsibility, he's not able to let himself go. But that English front row is dreadful. Yeah, Brian, carry on.
One thing I would say is that our front row did have scrum dominance towards the start of the game, but it just disappeared. But moving on to the second rows, we've got David Ribbons, George Martin. By the way, a lot of people have been saying George Martin is the future of the England line-out second row. So let's keep that in mind when we talk about this.
Oh, that's the future England, the dooms, if I'm being completely honest. Kieran, I know Kieran's going to say the
No,
same.
no, when Murrow stepped on the scene, everyone was literally flabbergasted at what he could do. Yeah, George Martin doesn't have that same effect. He doesn't give him that confidence yet, but I'm hopeful for him.
I think based on what he's done for club, I think he deserves another chance. There's players there that I think deserves another chance, and he's another one of them. But from his performance against Wales, I'm not sure who was calling the line out of those two, but we just didn't have it under control.
So poor.
I mean, they're both getting again 3 out of 10s for me.
The reason England couldn't launch off an attack or anything like that is because they didn't solve the line-out. 5 line-outs they lost. Their own line-outs, 5. 5.
Mm.
And you want to win a test match against Wales. Come on. It's just poor.
Back where we're on.
Back row: Lewis Ludlam, Tom Pearson, Alex Dombrant.
Oh, I'm going to get onto Tom Pearson now. You guys saying Tom Pearson? Tom Pearson is, he's got jackling ability, he's got ball carrying ability. He got absolutely sunned by Jack Morgan. If I can say that, he got absolutely sunned. Dombrant, is he even England standard? Is the question we're going to be having to ask now. I know everyone's going to come in with his Zach Mercer thing, right? And Lewis Ludlam was man of the match for me for England yesterday. He was the best English player. Sorry, there was no good English players, but he was the best of a bad bunch. So a combined 6 for me for the back row.
Everyone's getting a 6. Well, what I was going to say, I think Lewis Ludlam was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Probably getting a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Tom Pearson for a debut is promising. All right, he listen. He wasn't. I'm not going to say he played well because he didn't.
Yeah.
Promise. He made 10 plus tackles. He made a few carries, maybe 30, 40 meters through carrying. It's not something you look at and go, wow, I'm blown away. But in that England team with that performance, for him to still produce those numbers, I think is impressive. And Alex,
the point is, yeah, Tom Pearson did look out of place. Apart from the big hit he got smacked on, he did look out of place. So I think it's really important to recognise that a flanker playing international rugby coming on a debut like that was in my opinion a good performance, but he has levels to go to.
Thank you.
I'd give him a 5 out of 10. Alex Dombrant, 2-3 out of 10. And there's something I want to say about Alex Dombrant in an international shirt.
Yeah.
Every World Cup winning team, when you go back through it, has had a number 8 that is constantly involved in the game, constantly doing something important. How do you expect to win games when you have your number 8 is your prime source of go forward? If you have a number 8 that isn't carrying every possession, then where's your go forward? If he's not making an effect on the game every possession, you don't have any go forward.
I have a question for you. Is Alex Dombrant half the player of a Caelan Doris or Aldry? If you said 50% of Caelan Doris or 50% of Aldry with Alex Dombrant, what percentage would you take?
No. He's a 10th of Doris. He's a 1/20th of Aldi Sarver. Like, he is not there in levels. And England have got massive number 8 issues, and I think they've got massive scrum half issues as well.
Better than Dwayne Vermeulen, or would you take Dwayne Vermeulen over Alex Dombrant right now?
I'm saying as an advocate of no, not even an advocate, a Springboks hater, I'm saying Dwayne Vermeulen is clear of any Alex Dombrant by hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's not even close.
I wouldn't even blame you for that. 9 and 10 for England. Danny Care, Marcus Smith. I don't think they were bad in the first half, but then again, I think we all owe Marcus Smith an apology here, right? I'm gonna say that I came to an epiphany today, right?
All right, you two.
But Marcus Smith right now, what I'm seeing from Marcus Smith right now reminds me of Bowden Barrett, let's say like 2019, 2021, in the sense of a good 10 playing with a crap pack. Now, Marcus Smith, what can he be expected to do when there's no go forward ball from the pack, when the quality of ball is crap? He looked great in the first 10, 15 minutes when the set piece was functioning and everything. But after that, the performance fell apart. The wheels fell apart. So I think we all owe Marcus Smith an apology. Like, he can't do anything playing in that team.
Yeah. And Danny Care as well. I know I've said about him that he can be that something different from a 9 that maybe unlocks a defense. From this game, the problem I had was at the start, it's obviously a new team. Everything was a little bit out of time. And I think that might have come from Danny Care and the runners off him. So there are a lot of knock-ons from bad timing. But then the real concern I'm seeing here is defensively. Like, he obviously got demolished by Wainwright, and that one of the causes for the try. I mean,
do you know what I think is a bigger issue? I think Danny Care spent too much time making O2 inside line for England. I think he should stop doing that. Put the camera down. And I think he should get on the training paddock, because getting like that, getting fended off by Aaron Wainwright like that, it just epitomises our day. And then Tom Pearson gets smashed. Physicality. England rugby should never be dominated up front by a Welsh team. And Danny Care didn't set the tempo until probably the 15th minute. And then England looked very sluggish and slow. And then England backs couldn't get into the game, and then they looked poor. So overall, everything for me comes back to 9 and 10 and how poor their game management and their control was. I think it was just all over the shop.
I think it's harsh to blame it on halfbacks that aren't getting any opportunities whatsoever, but I'm not saying they played well at all. I think 5 out of 10 for Marcus Smith, 4 out of 10 for Danny Care.
Centre combinations being Marchant and Guy Porter, right? Marchant for me, 8, 7 out of 10. Guy Porter, probably one of the worst international performances I've ever seen from him as well. He was, I talk about lumps of large. You've got Dombrant and you've got Guy Porter. Dreadful. Just absolutely dreadful. What do you guys think?
I mean, we even highlighted it before the game and said there's no real point in playing someone like Guy Porter. Realistically, he's not going to play a role in the World Cup. Why are we wasting him? Why are we wasting this game playing him at 12 when there are other people? Like, we could be working on getting Slade back in form, because he hasn't been in form for a little while. But for some reason, Guy Porter, and okay, we give him an opportunity, and guess what he does? He flops. But I'd give him, I wouldn't give him.
Rowan summed it up. Guy Porter flopped, and I think Joe Marchant was working with what he could with Guy Porter inside of him. I would say solidly Marchant 8 and Guy Porter about 3.
Yeah, Joe Marchant, by the way, I think now, after that game, has to be in the conversation for the starting 13, well, maybe even winger. I think more likely a winger at the World Cup.
Back 3. So we're looking at Cokanasiga, Mayland, and Freddie Stewart. If I had to give an overall rating of how they function as a back 3, they're getting a 4 out of 10. Freddie Stewart, he catches, made some good carries. Maylands, I think Maylands was threatening. Maylands was threatening.
You want to look at we look at highlight reels. Yeah, that's what Joe Cokanasiga was yesterday. He just bumped Rio Dyer, a little kid, off, and then thought he was a shit. I'm gonna be honest. He was about a 3. I think Maylands, I didn't even notice he was playing, really, and so I'm giving him a 3. And then Freddie Stewart didn't really get that composed into the game, so I'm giving him about 4 max.
Ooh, 4 for Freddie Stewart. That's a bit harsh. I think he carried well at times.
I would say Freddie Stewart was solid. Nothing really wrong with his performance, but nothing exceptional. I'd give Freddie Stewart a 5. And then I'd have to agree with you on the other wingers. They were just, Max Maylands was pretty much non-existent. Joe Cokanasiga, we talk about how important kicking and kick returns is. He looked lost under the high ball. He looked absolutely lost. I think maybe a couple of good carries, but he just was not reliable. And for Bar fans that do him every week, they know that he can be a lot better than that.
Run, bro.
Joe had one chance. He had one chance to really stamp his authority, claim that 11 shirt, and be the guy for England. He just screwed up for himself, in all honesty. Not coming off his wing, not attacking. And I think it's going to be hard for England to pick him now. I think he had one opportunity, 1 moment to shine, playing well for Bath, and then he just, he wasn't it. So I think it's worrying times for Joe Cocker.